Hello, comrades. Thanks for coming to my channel. Allow me to introduce myself, Rabblecat, also known as Prole playing games on Twitch. I'm just another Prole playing games. Now, thanks for coming to my channel. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Patrick. I am a leftist. I am a socialist. I am sympathetic to anarchism. I guess, like, if I were to be forced to describe what my political philosophy is at the moment, it's probably something like libertarian socialism. Although I do kind of feel like my position on the left is pretty amorphous, although it is in the very clearly, very distinctly in the lower quadrant of the, political compass. So, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make content, leftist content. You see, back in the day, when I was 14 years old, and I started to have a political and philosophical awakening. I was a conservative Christian. My dad, and I'm only telling you this so you know what my family background is. My dad is an anarcho-capitalist and a huge Ron Paul supporter and hates Republicans and the GOP. So I grew up like far right-wing libertarian and very, very libertarian. I was raised on that kind of thinking. And also very religious, too, by the way. Now, I started to lose my religion probably around the time I was like 18, 19. At some point, like, I could see Christianity like leaving my body or something like that. Like, it was almost like even the experience of losing my religion itself was kind of a religious experience in the sense that, like, I started kind of opening myself up to different sorts of spiritual and philosophical thinking because I grew up homeschooled, by the way. And because I was homeschooled, I was given a lot of leeway in terms of like the stuff that I wanted to learn. And of course, my parents allowed me to like read philosophy like Spinoza and like Descartes and stuff. So I lost my religion. I went from basically like Christian to like a like hippie Christian for maybe like a year or two of my life. And then realizing, oh wait, you know what? Actually, Christianity's kind of bullshit. And you know what? Some of the hippie stuff is kind of cool, though. Like, by the time I was 19, I was like really into like psychedelic drugs and like Alan Watts and Terrence McKenna and stuff like that. Now, at that time, like, I wasn't incredibly political, but I was like the politics I did engage in were generally more right wing and more defensive of capitalism than I would have preferred. Than I would be willing to admit these days, right? Because I'm a Marxist and a socialist now. So, yeah. I started watching the Young Turks at some point, and I really liked Young Turks because at the time when in my early 20s, I considered myself anti-establishment, like pretty anti-establishment, and the Young Turks felt like a place I could go to for news, for daily news, and for like an online outlet that like provided a lot of content. Like, I could always just pop it up and be like, oh, here's a video, here's a video, here's a video, here's a video, and it's all about like commentary on like the news from an anti-establishment perspective. But here's the kicker: the Young Turks were also very progressive, and so by watching them, I became more and more progressive, more and more rad lib, as you might describe it today. So, like, during this time, you know, having kind of hippie beliefs about the universe, philosophically or whatever, I was watching Young Turks. I started going back to college and I started getting a degree in philosophy because I was very passionate about philosophy. But, you know, obviously in my first semester of philosophy, I was kind of like a hippie kid that was slightly progressive. Now, for that entire time, I was kind of anti-Marxist. I didn't actually read any Marx because all I knew about Marx was a revolution tomorrow, right now. We'll fucking do the fucking revolution now, and we will have communism fucking immediately. Like, we'll just fucking do revolution, then we'll do a fucking communism, and we'll fucking have the utopia, bro. So that was my perception of what Marxism was. And that's why I was like a progressive kid. You know, like, hey, you know what? Racism's bad. Like, being anti-gay is bad. You know what? Like, capitalism kind of bad. You know, maybe we should tax people a little bit more, you know. But, you know, it wasn't until my last semester of philosophy, in my philosophy degree, I took a class called 19th Century Philosophy. And in that class, we read Hegel and Marx. Can you believe it? We read fucking Nietzsche. We read fucking Hegel. We read fucking Marx. We read fucking John Stuart Mill. These are the four guys who were like the biggest characters. Now, we did Kant in the beginning, but these are the four guys that, like, it was like one of the more informative philosophy classes that I took, because so much of the way we think about the world today is built upon Hegel, Marx, John Stuart Mill, and Nietzsche. You could really, like, string it all, like any sort of philosophical thinking, any sort of thinking at all, economically, sociologically, just politically, can stem from these guys. It's kind of crazy how relevant 19th century philosophy is to the way we think today. Not much has changed. Not much of the opinions about what we're supposed to be doing has changed that much. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but this is kind of important. Like, because this had a huge impact on me. It's like one of the most, like, he wasn't even that great of a teacher, but he was a very unbiased teacher. He wasn't teaching Hegel and Marx because he himself was a Marxist. I don't really know what he believed. That's the mark of a good professor and a good teacher, is if you can't tell what they believe and they're just giving you information, they're probably a good professor. So, and that's what I got from that class. But as a professor, he wasn't that great in the sense that he didn't have much of a personality or much of a, like, you know, I couldn't relate to him that much because he was very kind of stone cold and stuff. But my point is that class fucking, I'm not going to say I became a Marxist overnight or anything like that, but I will say that, like, the seeds were sown in that class, because I actually got to read Marx, and I got to read Hegel and then Marx, like, right after, and that was just like, holy fuck, wait a second. You're telling me that progress? Wait. Like, that's a thing? Like, wait. progress is a thing. Like, wait a second. Like, we could be going somewhere if we just, like, had the will to do it. Because we always have the will to do it, but we always have the will to do it in a way that is, like, pushing back against the progress that seems kind of inevitable, right? That's what reactionary is. When I refer to something as somebody or some take as reactionary, there's a force that is moving against the inevitable progress of history. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, things are always going to go up and up and up, or get better and better and better. Like, standard of living over the past thousand years has gone up and up, but it doesn't mean that's always going to happen. But for the past 1,000 years, it's been a progressive thing, right? With the transformation from slavery to feudalism to capitalism to whatever comes next. You know, maybe it's socialism. Maybe it's something else. Like, I don't know. Does anyone have other ideas? Oh, fascism, maybe? If you don't know the joke I'm making, it's basically like once we reach a breaking point, it's fascism or socialism. That's it. You can't do capitalism forever. Just like you can't do slavery forever and you can't do feudalism forever. Now, you may be able to create an infinite cycle where you kind of create these tensions and then they break and then they go back to... This is something I've been thinking about lately. This is getting complicated, and I shouldn't get into this because this is just an introduction video. I'm just giving you an idea of how I'm going to be thinking about things. The people I want to fight who are intellectually on the right, philosophically on the right, and I want to debunk them. I want to tell them they're wrong and show them why they're fucking wrong, because they're wrong, okay? They're fucking wrong. And you and I, we can be confident in that. And I want to prove that we can be confident that the right is wrong. And that we can win. We can win this fight. That's what I want to tell you. All right? There's a lot to talk about with this. It's a complicated subject. Politics, leftism, with the fucking right, the fucking movement of history is complicated. Well, I'm here to fucking help you figure that out, okay? So let's fucking do it, all right? I'm here for it. I'm not a fucking PhD genius, but I have a degree, so I know a thing or two. I've read a book or two, and maybe some of you haven't read a book, and that's fine. That's what I'm here for. Because the people who need to have this information are the fucking working class, the people who may not have the education to understand leftist philosophical complicated theories. We need to be able to communicate this in a way that can make sense to the language of working class people. And I am a working class people. I got a degree and I'm, I can talk about this stuff. But I am not, I make $30,000 a year. Like, I'm a fucking wage slave like anyone else right now. I work as a barista. I know that's like a meme. It's like the stereotype of like, oh yeah, the guy who got a philosophy degree, now he's a barista, haha. Like, I've seen those memes, okay? I know I fit them, okay? And I know it's worth making fun of. It's funny, okay? I get it. But you know what? It puts me in a unique position. Because I can fucking teach people. I can teach working class people. Listen, we can change things. We can do it. We actually can change things. It's possible. It's hard, but it's possible. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I want to do. I just want to be a part of that discourse. Anyway, thanks for coming to my channel. Excuse me. Stay rad, guys. Hope to catch you on the next video. See ya.